Now that you've seen my A to Z of likes, here is my A to Z of dislikes. Thanks once again to Emma for inspiration. Before we begin, I think I should point out that with a lot of these things, I have to straddle a very fine line between dislike and hate. To that end, I've done my best to make that distinction where it is appropriate. On to the list. A is for aging, especially now that I'm in my 40s. The potential for my hair to lose its color and/or fall out, my skin to sag to a certain extent, or my memory to start failing with the continued passage of time makes my blood run cold if I think about it too much. B is for baseball. Yes, I know it's America's game, but that doesn't help the fact that it's one of the slowest sports to watch on TV in terms of action. And sure, your favorite players might eventually hit a home run now and then, but what else is there other than a long wait between home runs? C is for coffee. It's curious that while I like the flavor or the aroma of coffee, I just can't drink it hot. Plus, the caffeine in coffee might be one of those things that helps other people get up in the morning, but not me. For whatever reason, caffeine does nothing for me. D is for doing dishes. This is the first thing on this list that I can say for sure that I hate. And I hate it with every fiber of my being. And the only thing I hate worse than doing dishes is folding and hanging up clean clothes after doing laundry. E is for earwax. Not only does it smell like old cheese when I clean my ears, but it can also cause all kinds of hearing problems if it builds up too much. F is for the Fox News Channel. For the benefit of my audience members living outside of my country, I have to tell a little story, so bear with me. For a translation of some of the political jargon that I'm about to use, you can go back and look at a video I made last year called Whose Election Is It Anyway? Once upon a time in the United States, there was a president named Richard Nixon, who was, by all accounts, a typical conservative Republican for his time, despite the fact that he was also paranoid as all hell. He was so paranoid that he thought the so-called liberal media were out to get him, with any and all unflattering stories they told about him. So he decided to task Roger Ailes, whose name wasn't known by a lot of Americans at that time, with the task of creating a pro-Nixon GOP TV channel that would cast the president, his administration, and his political party in the best light possible. Nixon would not live to see it happen, but Ailes would eventually bring GOP TV to fruition 22 years after Nixon resigned from office in disgrace as a result of what Americans call the Watergate scandal. We know it today as the Fox News Channel. During Barack Obama's presidency, which at this time is just about over, Ailes called Fox the voice of the opposition. Indeed, just about anyone working at Fox in the last 8 years would probably have argued that if Fox looks slanted to the right, read conservative, it's because everyone else in television news is slanted to the left, read liberal, and Fox is simply the counterpoint. But a long time ago, journalism was about reporting the news as a matter of objective facts, not as a matter of subjective political opinions. So the very existence of Fox News blows just about every conservative argument about liberal media bias out of the water to me. Because if it were a truly liberal media world, then conservative Fox News might not even be allowed to exist in the same TV news universe as liberal CNN and MSNBC. By the way, although you would think that the ultimately successful election of Donald Trump as our next president would have been preceded by and followed by a boatload of drama on Fox, the pro-Republican network, I have found much more of the drama to be on CNN this time. G is for guns. This is definitely another item for the hate column instead of the dislike column. Here is the absolute truth. I hate guns. I hate the gun lobbies in America. I hate the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution. And I hate the fact that so many innocent people have died, quite a few of them children under the age of 18, as a result of misinterpretations of, or inappropriate extensions of, the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution. H is for humidity. It's one of the things that turn ordinary summer days into scorching hot days, and it is also one of the primary ingredients in the formation of severe thunderstorms. We'll get back to that later. I is for illogic. Anyone who knows me well knows what a fan I am of logic. It's not just a Star Trek thing in my case. I strive to live out my life in as logical a way as possible. It's how my brain works. So when other people in my life are doing illogical things, it knocks me for a loop sometimes, and an appropriate way for me to react temporarily escapes me. J is for junk mail. I really like getting things in the mail and sending things through the mail for others, but I really dislike junk mail. Some of it is so obviously useless that I'll occasionally just throw it in my trash can without opening it. K is for kale. Actually, I do like kale every now and then. It just seems to be one of those vegetables that doesn't really taste good all by itself to me. L is for laundry. CD for doing dishes. Add the fact that I hate having to actually set aside money every month for doing laundry, because the washers and dryers I have to use are coin-operated. M is for memes. I've said before that memes are most likely one of the most annoying things about social media today, especially when it comes to political topics. N is for negativity on the internet. Lots of other YouTubers have already commented on this in their own ways, so I won't add much more to it, except that I hate it. O is for obstinacy. Obstinate people are usually stubborn, set in their ways, and highly resistant to change. P is for Pittsburgh. This is another one where I have to point out that I don't really hate or dislike Pittsburgh. It is only that I don't know Pittsburgh. I'm not from Pittsburgh. I've never been to Pittsburgh. I don't understand the dialect of English called Pittsburghese. I don't understand Pittsburgh's culture, and so on. And don't get me started on the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially not after what they did to the Cleveland Browns this past New Year's Day. Someone told me recently that the Pittsburgh Steelers are the NFL equivalent of the Alabama Crimson Tide, as in Roll Tide. Just because they have more Super Bowl wins than any other team, their fans think they have to be in the playoffs every year. I'm certainly not immune to getting smack talk for being a Cleveland fan. Anyway, Q is for queasiness. You know, that feeling you get in your stomach when you eat something that doesn't agree with you, or when you're about to do something that you think you'll live to regret later. Definitely a dislike. R is for reckless behaviors. Oh, how I hated it when people who were my friends in college, also known as university or uni, engaged in reckless behaviors. Instead of engaging in reckless behaviors with them, I would often spend weekends fearing for their lives. S is for severe weather, especially severe thunderstorms and tornadoes in summer. Some of the ingredients for a severe thunderstorm or tornado include humidity, clashing warm and cold air masses, heavy rain, strong wind gusts, and instability in the atmosphere. Tornadoes remind me of the one I was actually in when I was a kid, so when warnings are on TV, I am at my most heightened state of alert. And when I watch clips like these, which were recorded in the states of Tennessee and Oklahoma, which are more prone to large tornado outbreaks than my state of Ohio, I wonder how people can even live there sometimes. Most recently, a hurricane threatened the Bahamas and the state of Florida last October. This one was significant for me because I know quite a large amount of people who live in Florida right now, and I don't know how they do it every year either. T is for travel. I would like to be able to like traveling more than I dislike it. But some of the problems that I have with travel include the fact that it costs money, and I don't have a lot, and the fact that my general ability to be mobile is limited. Meanwhile, most people I know are as free to travel back and forth as they please. U is for untrustworthiness. I can still remember the first time in my adult life when I knew for sure that I was dealing with people whose intentions were less than honest with me. V is for viruses, meaning the kind that infect our bodies and the kind that infect our computers. I dislike both equally. W is for war, for reasons that should be immediately obvious. X is for xenophobia, which I think we have a very big problem with here in the United States, even as we profess to be a country that welcomes people of all ethnicities, religious beliefs, creeds, sexualities, and races. Y is for yearnings, only in the sense that it's very hard to wait for things sometimes. And finally, Z is for zealots. There are all kinds of zealots everywhere in the world, but the ones most commonly found here in America are religious zealots and political zealots. Hope you enjoyed.